It's daybreak, and many of the rebels guarding the hostages are sleeping off the effects of a night of heavy drinking. They've emptied crates of beer that had been supplied by British negotiators to make them a little less battle-ready. But these will be no pushovers for the SAS. The gang is armed with everything from AK-47s to anti-aircraft artillery. And many are hardened ex-soldiers, conditioned by countless atrocities against men, women, and children. The West Side Boys are a relic of a merciless civil war that had paralyzed Sierra Leone through the 1990s, leaving thousands dead or brutally maimed. The ultimate prize was not political power, but what came with it: control of the country's rich diamond mines. Murderous gangs like the West Side Boys caused the international community to fear the total collapse of the country.
We saw Sierra Leone threatened by vicious thugs motivated by criminality, by money, by power.
In late August 2000, British Defence Secretary Jeff Hoon was faced with making the high-risk decision to send in troops to attack the West Side Boys and free their British captives.
The Chief of the Defence Staff briefed me about the operation. He could not rule out British deaths, and it was a difficult judgment in the light of that advice as to whether or not we should go ahead.
It is the 17th day of imprisonment for the 6 British Army hostages in the rebels' hands. If it is a day like any other, then these men of the 1st Battalion, Royal Irish Regiment, could face a severe beating or a mock execution. Their commanding officer is Major Alan Marshall. It was his decision that led to their capture, and only his ingenuity and quick thinking that has kept his men alive throughout the worst of their ordeal. But nothing that's happened to the British compares to the savagery unleashed against Lieutenant Musa Bangura, a military liaison officer attached to Marshall's patrol. He has routinely been beaten and hacked to unconsciousness. His terrible injuries left to fester in the worst of conditions. On the morning of the SAS rescue attempt, Musa Bangura is close to death. Operation Barras takes flight in 10 minutes. One of the first to be dropped into the West Side Boys' stronghold will be Bombardier Brad Tinian. This is his first combat mission for the SAS. But even for the most experienced commandos, the attack will be a leap into unfamiliar territory. The SAS is famed for its use of stealth, attacking with the element of surprise. But Operation Barras will be a full frontal assault, jumping from large, noisy helicopters that are easy to shoot down into the heart of a camp that is heavily defended. The SAS mission is the climax to a chain of events that began 17 days earlier. A routine convoy of 3 British Army Land Rovers was returning to base near Freetown, the capital of Sierra Leone. The patrol consisted of 12 soldiers, 11 British, and Musa Bangura, then a lieutenant in the Sierra Leone Army.
We've been together for over 2-3 months, so I know most of them. I know Major Alan Marshall, Captain Laverty. In fact, Captain Laverty was my counterpart. He was the appointed liaison officer.
As the convoy approached a roadblock manned by UN peacekeepers, Major Marshall was about to make a decision that would haunt him for the rest of his life. to divert his patrol off its planned route.
Major Alan Marshall spoke with the commander. We were still in our vehicles. After about 2 minutes, he came back into his own vehicle and we diverted.
Marshall and most of his patrol still serve in the British Army and are unable to speak publicly. However, the story of what happened next has been pieced together with the eyewitness accounts of Musa Bangura and another key player, Lieutenant Colonel Simon Fordham, who was then Marshall's commanding officer.
His liaison with the Jordanians was valid. He did that for perfectly proper, viable military reasons. And whatever Alan did and does as a military officer, he does because he perceives that to be the correct course of duty. There's no question of any map reading error. There's no question of not knowing what he was doing.
The British patrol had entered a territory known as the Okra Hills. Musa Bangura knew immediately that they were gambling with their lives in a place where extreme violence had become a way of life. Musa had good reason to be fearful. Years earlier, he had witnessed a failed mutiny in the Sierra Leone army. The rebellious soldiers were thrown out, but many had ganged together, eventually calling themselves the West Side Boys. They were united by a common grudge, especially against serving military officers.
I started asking Captain Laverty, can he call the OC and ask him, say I'm concerned, where is he taking us? This area is a West Side Boys infested area. If they see us, they will definitely open fire without even asking. He never called, really. That was the unfortunate thing. Except when we are almost in trouble. That was the time he wanted to call the OC, but by then it was too late.
Please! Sorry, tactical, not ahead. Hold on! Maybe just a roadblock. Put your weapons down. Figure out what this is.
It's not a roadblock. This is a fucking disaster.
The patrol's path was cut off by a group of about 50 rebels, led by a commander called Contaby.
Good morning.
Welcome. What's your mission?
British Army. Here to invite your men to attend retraining.
Wait a minute.
Even by the horrific standards of the West Side Boys, Contaby was violent and unpredictable.
Okay. You come without permission.
No. We're here to make you an offer. To offer your men the chance to retrain
You're here to take my men away.
No. This is a humanitarian mission. We need to report on the well-being of the villagers here.
We are very well, thank you. And who the fuck are you?
My name is Major Marshall. We've been on patrol up to the Jordanian UN post in Masiaka.
Why not stay on the highway? All this West Side territory.
We have a responsibility.
It's your responsibility to do as you're told. You shoot, you all die.
Corporal!
We have a 50 caliber weapon, big weapon. And one of the soldiers really wanted to open fire. I saw the OC giving him instructions. I think that made him not to shoot. But he really wanted to shoot. He was brave.
Order your men to hand over all weapons. Now.
We can't do that, I'm afraid. In the interest of safety, I'm going to ask my men to put down their weapons. They cannot surrender them.
I'm not debating you, British Army. Now.
Okay. Give me a moment to talk to my men. I'm going to ask you all to disengage and hand over your weapons. Sorry about this, everyone. Just need to sort this out. Shouldn't take long. We'll be back on our way. Here. Can we talk now?
Get their weapons and get their ring! Come down!
They were now searching these vehicles, ripping them off with radios, weapons, ration, everything. I was an enemy to them because I took these British guys into their camp. So to them, I'm a traitor. So they can treat me worse than these guys, and that was what they did.
Kontabi had first met Musa Bangura when they trained together in the Sierra Leone army. Now he was about to renew their acquaintance in the most brutal way imaginable.
They came to our own vehicle where I was, and they found me. It was like they found riches from nowhere.
Lieutenant Bangura, so you brought the British here to attack us?
No, I didn't.
They did not ask me anything, and I did not tell them anything. There was no way I could talk. Everybody was having his own taste of me. Somebody brought a razor blade, just tear off my back, and my face, scratch everything. I was dripping in blood. They are not listening, or they are not ready to listen to you. They were shouting. You can't say anything to them.
The British patrol was taken across a wide river to Gberi Bana, once a peaceful village, but now a West Side Boys stronghold. After standing for hours in the hot afternoon sun, the hostages had their first encounter with the rebels' leader, Brigadier Fode Kale. He was an ex-army corporal and a notorious torturer and murderer.
Who's the commanding officer?
I am.
What's your name?
Who the hell did this?
Get your fucking hands off! Whoa, okay. I got him, turn around. Relax, will you? Relax. Name?
Major Alan Marshall, 1st Battalion Royal Irish Regiment. And you are?
Fode Kale, Brigadier, West Side Boys, whose land you stand on.
You must release us at once. And this man needs medical attention now.
You are my prisoners until your freedom is negotiated. Lock them up. What's your turn? I'll find a place for him. Lieutenant Musa Bangura.
From now on, Camp Commandant Kontabi was to personally supervise Musa's torture.
He said he's going to introduce me to the camp. They tied me up, my hands behind my back with my feet, and they dragged me out.
Musa's induction was to be at the hands of the West Side Boys' child soldiers, some of them as young as 8.
They brought in dozens of these small boys. They call them SBUs. It's like small boys units. Those boys will take anything for